happy Friday to everyone out there in the Facebook and YouTube world that is watching this. It will also be posted on Instagram as well. I am so thankful and grateful to be welcoming my friend, Nikki Klein, to the show. You guys are in for a treat. And I was telling her before we popped on here, I met her at one of our mini real estate conferences that we go to, you get in those rooms and you learn from the best, right? But I met her, and every single time we go, there's thousands and thousands of people, and I always run into Nikki. I feel like the universe says, you two have to just stay
That's
together.
Right.
So I am excited. Thank you for joining us today. And I always like to take a moment and let you introduce who you are, your family, your friends. I don't care. Give us a little background on who Nikki is and let us figure out who this girl is in front of us.
All right. Well, thank you for the introduction. I'm so grateful to be here. I'm honored that you invited me on. So my name is Nikki Klein. I run a real estate team in Boca Raton, Florida. Originally from England. I'm hoping my accent is still there.
It's definitely still there.
Is it? Okay. I got to work on that. My sister has a very British accent, so I need to work on that. And, I moved to Florida. Well, I moved to the States in 1999. Oh. And then I was in Manhattan for quite a while, about 13 years. Then I moved to Connecticut. And then I moved back to Florida because I went to school in Florida. I moved back to Florida about 9 years ago now, maybe 10, probably 9-10 years ago. Time flies, right?
It does, especially in Florida. I will have to say, I feel like time just
doesn't exist
so quickly. You're like, it was just a couple years ago, and you realize it's like 5 years.
Right. So I came back to Florida and decided to get into real estate. And fast forward, here we are. I have a team. There are 7 agents on the team.
Nice.
And we are just having a great time.
I love your team name too, the Brilliant Team. I think it's brilliant. Is there a story behind that at all?
So, it's no one's ever asked me that before, but I love that you asked me that. Thank you. The story is that when I decided to get into real estate, I was an individual agent, and then you over time you realize that it's not really for me. I didn't want to do it by myself. I wanted to grow a team and have a community. And so I was like, well, what name can I use? And then it just came to me. I was like, well, I can call myself the Brilliant Team or Brilliant something. And then of course I went to GoDaddy, and the Brilliant Team was available. And so I took it, and I was like, all right, I guess I'm going to be the Brilliant Team.
I like it. Well, it was so funny because when I think the first time I saw it, I was like, it's bloody brilliant.
Bloody brilliant. Well, it's funny. It's interesting because anytime I go somewhere or I'm at an event or a conference, people come up to me all the time and they say, whenever I hear the word brilliant, I think of you.
Yeah, exactly.
I can no longer hear the word brilliant without associating it with Nikki Klein, which is, it tells you something about marketing, right?
It does. Yeah.
Come up with the tagline. Or a word or something that makes people think of you.
Yep. I love that. So you have a team of 7, you have 7 agents under you.
Mm-hmm.
When did you start building the team? How old is your team?
That's a journey, my friend. That has been a journey. So, I said a few years ago that I was started to build a team, and I think I built and failed and built and failed. I can't even count how many times.
Yeah.
So I kept trying to build a team, but what I realized is that I wasn't ready to build a team. I wanted to build a team, but I wasn't the person I am today. And so I had to do a lot of personal growth in order to get to where I am. And there's always more to be done.
Absolutely.
Always more to be done.
Absolutely.
I'm in a different place now than I was when I started. And as the journey has gone, I've realized certain things that work and don't work and things I need to work on, and people, right? You don't want to ever just get people in that have a pulse. They have to align with everything that you stand for and everything that you're building. And I think we have a tendency as team leaders at the beginning to say,
bring them in.
breathing, and you want to come on my team, let's do it. So
Yeah.
now we're very picky. We turn away people all the time.
Yeah. I love that. In fact, the one thing that I learned before I started the B Major team is, like I got real clear on my values, my standards, my principles, and who I was. And I feel like that continues to change. But over the last probably 8 to 10 years, I've really kind of refined that search of who I am and who I want to be presented to the world as. And, and I think that that's an ever changing space for me. And I'm sure it is for you. Like I learn all the time. Like I thought I was going to be down this path, but again, I need to be open to any and all possibilities. But as long as everyone aligns with my values, standards, and principles, then they can come in. I have refused one. There's been one person who stepped into my space and I was just like, I think you and I can both agree that maybe we don't have the same energy. We don't have the same kind of direction. And the last thing I need to do is bring someone in that doesn't quite fit that space, because then it just causes chaos throughout. So,
yeah, I mean, they say like one rotten apple ruins the batch or whatever it is. I think I made that up, but it's something.
No, it's true.
Okay. But it's like, you don't want to poison the well. So, and I'm not even talking about like the other person being poisonous, but if you don't have the same attitude or it has to mesh. So what I found in like team meetings, if I have agents who are negative or like huffing or like don't want to contribute, then it's just not part of what we're looking to do together as a collective. So it's never going to work.
Absolutely. I love that. So I also like to talk to people when they come on here about your journey specifically. Like, was there anything that has been inspirational, or is there something that really just gave you that final kick? Like, here I go. This is what I'm going to do. Like, is there a book? Is there a person? Like, is there anything that you can, if someone else is looking to make this journey, what advice might you have?
So my advice would be, instead of looking everywhere outside, you have to look within yourself. I think we have a tendency as humans to like see what other people are doing and say they have the answer. But the truth is, if you can take things from what other people have been doing and lead yourself with those things, that's what I have found works for me. So I'll read, I think a few years ago, I discovered Brené Brown, and that was kind of the first opening for me. When I started reading her books, I was like, oh my gosh, your life doesn't have to be like this. You get to decide how you respond to things. You don't have to react to things. So it's an unraveling of everything that we thought we are to become who we are, true to ourselves.
Yeah.
I could go really deep on this stuff because I started on this journey several years ago and I'm very passionate about it. So it depends how deep you
want. I love it. Well, Brené Brown was one of my first reads that it was rather eye-opening. There's her Braving the Wilderness was a really good book for me. Like I suddenly was like, oh my gosh, just because I grew up in this space and this is what I heard does not mean that's who I have to be.
That's
like
right.
Just because somebody told me at one time, well, you're only going to be accomplished or be able to do this, doesn't mean that I have to take those words and hold them. Like that doesn't have to be my story. And at the point where I figured out I'm the author and the director of my own story, it's very liberating. And she is probably one of my first. The other thing, if you haven't read it, Jen Sincero's You Are a Badass. That book, every member of my team reads that. I don't care if you're admin. I don't care if you're an agent. When you come on my team, if you don't know this book, I'm going to get you a copy and you're going to read it, because it's a very liberating book as well, to realize that you are actually the one in control of this.
That's right.
So, yeah.
Have it. Actually, I don't think it's on my bookcase. I own it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do. I also read a lot of like Wayne Dyer, Eckhart Tolle. Like I have a lot of those kind of more spiritual growth books, self-growth. So that's kind of the path that I've been led down, and really looking at, again, it's like when you look inwards and you discover what makes you feel really good, right? So if you're doing something and it feels like this, what makes you feel like this? And that goes, I think, for when you're hiring people too. It's like really looking at the things that you don't enjoy doing and leveraging those things to somebody else so that you can focus on the bigger picture, and B, just living life. Like there are going to be certain things that you have to do just because you have to do it.
You have to do
But
them.
it's like, right, because you have to do it. But like for the majority of what you're doing, if you can leverage the things that you know you're not good at or you don't enjoy, it's going to feel so much lighter. Like every day, you're just not burdened with those things.
That's good. That's really good. That's good stuff. It's so true though. And I think especially as women, I feel like we really take it on like, well, I got to get this done and I need to do this. And like, we got to raise the family. We've got to do this. And I feel like we can take a step back and realize that there are some people out here and we've got to let loose of the control for just a second. And there's somebody that's going to be able to step in and actually do the work, and probably not just do it, but do it better than you can. Mm-hmm. Like I found
free you up to do the other things, right?
Yeah.
Free you up
and
to
you're
focus
like,
on the big picture.
What a glorious idea.
Right.
I love it. Yeah.
That's really I do that with I don't cook. I'm a single parent, and when I have my kids, cooking is like the bane of my existence.
Amen, sister. I don't like it. Like,
so what do I leverage? I order in, or it's like now they cook for themselves, because if they want to eat and they're hungry, that's what you're going to have to do. But it's really figuring out those things that you can leverage so that you can be more at peace with what you're doing. It's very easy to like get stressed out about this and stressed out about that and not stay present.
Yep, absolutely. I love that. Well, I also want to talk a little bit about your accomplishments. One of them, I just want to throw out there. We are both co-authors of a really cool book that has been released called Women in Real Estate Who Boss Up. And so there were 16 of us total. So you're seeing 2 of them right here.
That's right.
I think it's really cool. It gives you the ability to really read the journey of 16 women, anything that they've overcome and how they've become the person that they are today. And what I really like is that everyone's journey has been so diverse. So I think there's a relatable space in there. I know that you've got the book, and what other accomplishments? Like you're pretty cool. So is there anything that you want to talk about?
Well, okay. I don't know if it's an accomplishment. However, what I will say, well, just living and breathing is an accomplishment, right? Like there's so much going on all the time. But what I will say is one of my passions is creating community. And so I currently have built a community in my area it's a Facebook group, and I have 26,000 members in there.
That's awesome.
And so it's really become kind of a tribe of its own, and it's taken off and people feel really connected to it. And it's amazing that the culture that has been created in that group comes offline as well, right? So when we meet in person, it's just this incredible community of people that want to help each other grow. And so that is something I'm pretty proud of. Yeah.
Yeah. And what is it called?
It's called Boca Raton Moms Connect.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And so in there, I mean, I'm presuming that this is a group of mamas who just maybe sometimes just need support or ideas, or like
if they need a
doctor around town.
Mm-hmm. We don't allow sales in there. We don't allow like any negative talk. So no politics, no religion, no vaccines, nothing that causes drama, right? Correct. Like we don't go there. So it's really just a place where people can ask questions and be vulnerable. And, women, there's something about the community that allows people to feel safe, and they ask questions and they're given appropriate answers. And we don't tolerate any bullying or any like laughing at people's scenarios. So they know that it's like a very tight shop, that if there's anything that goes against the rules, you get kicked out.
Yeah. Well, I love that. I think as women, we need that so much. A place to be able a safe haven to go out and not feel like it's a stupid question.
Right.
Or, in fact, that's the biggest thing about my team is that on we do our Monday morning meetings. And so when we get together, we talk about our wins, we talk about our struggles, and we talk about business, but we also are there for each other on a personal level. And so I protect that space, because that's another reason why you better have the same standards and values, because it is a safe haven. I need you to feel okay that if you've got something personal happening in your life, you can share that with us. Like maybe we got a little bit of advice, or in the end, maybe all we need to do is just give you a hug and give you some love, like whatever that needs to be.
That's right.
And I think that as human beings, the importance of having a space where you can talk to people and be heard is number one. So I love that you've done that for not just your team, but a whole community. Like that's 26,000 plus people it's a lot of people to continue to impact and love on.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful. And, I get people sending me messages like, there was a hairdresser who said that she had made $30,000 extra last year from all the referrals in the group, right? People she didn't know that had moved here, and just stories like that I'm just like, wow, a Facebook group is changing lives. Like that's pretty powerful, right?
It's really powerful. And you're the catapult for that. So that is a huge accomplishment. Kudos to you. I love that a lot.
I love connecting people. That's like a huge passion of mine. Yeah. So with that, I've now joined the Boca Chamber. So if you guys have leadership programs at your chambers, I would highly recommend joining. It's been an incredible experience so far. I don't know have you had the opportunity to do one yet?
Our chamber is pretty small.
Okay.
But we do have a chamber director that is really doing a really great job. His name is Joe Whitmer. So Joe, if you're watching this, he actually is doing some really good work and really diving deep into getting to know the community and the businesses. And he's doing some really good stuff. It's pretty much him.
Wow.
He does have some little things that you can get involved in. I've gone to a couple of the meetings, and but it's good stuff.
Yeah,
we're pretty small here.
Yeah, no, I can imagine, but no, here it's like there's just there are so many things that I didn't even know about. So many nonprofits and organizations that want to give back, and so what I'm going to do is be that vessel for this group to be able to give back, because so many people want to, they just don't know how. So if I can post a link or say, hey, bring your teams, we're going to do Habitat for Humanity. Let's get them to help build houses and give back to the community at such a young age. That's the win for me. It's like being that vessel to help people give back.
Yeah, I love that. So if anyone is out there and they are looking at the Boca Raton area, and or you are an agent that's watching this and thinking, hey, like I've got a buyer that's mentioned this, Nikki is your person.
Yes.
So if someone wanted to get in touch with you, how's the best way for them to do so?
So you can either call me or text me at 561-325-9687.
Okay.
Or shoot me an email, nikki@thebrilliantteam.com.
Yep. And I'll put that information in the show notes down below. And I love that you took the time to join us today. Is there anything else that maybe you want to just throw out there that maybe might be helpful for someone watching? That's like
it's not that serious. Like sometimes we create these stories in our head, and it's okay. We just take a breath.
Amen. I love that. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us today. I hope you guys have a most wonderful Friday. Take care, and we'll see you next week.